Brought to you by
youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the special interest group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
Good evening and thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to UBC News tonight. It's me, Micheal Jordan Lukomwa, with Dorothy Namiomba on the sign language corner. Let's start with a look at the top stories.
Brought to you by
Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Improved service delivery and stand against corruption. President Museveni urges institutions to prioritize science-based causes. 5 killed, 3 injured in the UPDF helicopter crash in Somalia. While Justice Minister Norbert Mao warns politicians against trading democracy for money.
Brought to you by
Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome once again. People mandated to regulate, deliver and assess technical vocational education and training have been urged to prioritize quality and keep employees at the center of their work. While inaugurating the TET Council at assessment boards at State House Nakasero, Minister for Education and Sports Janet Museveni said that determining the unit cost for quality delivery will guide government investment in the TVT system.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has begun implementing TVET reforms following Parliament's approval for the TVET bill and the President's assent making it a law. Upon joining the ministry in 2016, Janet Museveni formed an existing TVET strategic plan under which 5 centers of excellence were established and 10 TVET institutions built. However, institutional reforms, especially curricula and regulation, remained a gap.
What was not accomplished from the TVET strategic plan were the institutional reforms, especially in terms of TVET delivery by TVET providers, TVET curricula and assessment and regulation of the entire TVET system.
She noted that the 2019 TVET policy approved by Cabinet now provides direction and anchors the TVET Act, under which the new boards and council have been created.
Then the overall regulation of the entire TVET system is now a mandate of the TET Council. Whereas there has always been TVET delivery and assessment handled in the previous TVET arrangement before the TVET Act 2025 came into force on March 15, 2025, it is the first time now that the government has set in place a body to oversee the regulation of the TVET system.
Janet Museveni urged newly formed boards born from merging UNIBEB and UAHEB into Uganda Health Professional Assessment Board and UBTEB with DIT to validate staff and fully constitute their secretariats.
I urge the 3 pillars of the TVET system, that is the delivery pillar, curriculum and assessment pillar, and the regulatory pillar, to keep the employers, especially the private sector, at the center of your business. The skills we impart in the trainees must be those that are not only relevant but also of quality as defined by those who will provide employment to the graduates of our TVET system.
The TVET Council, chaired by former UNRA Executive Director Allen Kajina, has 7 members but awaits appointment of its Executive Director.
Chair for the TET Council is Mrs. Allen Kajina. Kindly stand up. The council has 7 members. 1 member is Sinkada Lalani.
The State Minister for Higher Education, John Crizesto Moyengo, said the reforms were long overdue.
Mama, after identifying the problem of unemployment, government came up with a solution. We started with a policy. Now we have moved to the law. From the law, now we have the people who are going to implement. This God needs to be praised once again. Thanks be to God.
Appointments were approved by Cabinet, where Dr. Alfred Riwali chairs Uganda Health Professions Assessment Board. Abdunasiri Lukomwa for UBC.
We will rejoice and be glad in Him. This is the day, this is the day.
Uganda targets to double the pace of human capital development from 39% in 2025 to 56% by 2040. While launching the Human Capital Development Review Report at State House, Nakasero, First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, asked all leaders and partners to increase investment in human capital to address existing challenges.
The Ministry of Education and Sports, alongside sectors like water, gender, health and the World Bank, have jointly launched the Uganda Human Capital Development and Growth Review Report. The report, launched by the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, shows that Uganda's Human Capital Index stands at 0.39, just 39% of the potential from full health and education. Mrs. Janet Museveni wants all leaders and partners to increase investment in human capital to address existing challenges in order to meet the 10-fold growth strategy. Development must rise to 56% by 2040. Despite progress in education, health, nutrition, water and job creation, key bottlenecks remain.
These include the high population growth rate. They include limited employment opportunities, inequalities in human capital outcomes and services across various dimensions, inadequate level of resources, and I trust that you heard the words that the regional World Bank representative used right there. He said that Uganda has to urgently and dramatically increase the resources in this area so that we make a difference. Increasing the level of investment for human capital development. This is indeed the utmost challenge facing our national aspiration for human capital development. Once the level of investment changes, I believe that all other challenges will change.
Janet noted the TVET Policy 2019 and Act 2025 will strengthen inclusive growth.
Common purpose of the TVET Policy 2019 and TVET Act 2025 is to reform the way skilling of our people is done, not only by government skilling, but also in the private sector.
The report calls for increased investment and equitable access to quality services.
Increase expenditure on human capital to ensure equitable access to quality services. That is, increasing spending through innovative financing mechanisms like health taxes and PPPs, and safeguard human capital expenditure during difficult times. That is, trying to avoid cuts in the human capital budgets.
Ministries have outlined strategies based on a multi-sectoral approach.
Stunting. Ministry of Health will receive children who have malnutrition. But if we don't implement a serious multi-sectoral approach, where agriculture addresses the food security.
Our approach now prioritizes cross-sector integration, ensuring children are healthy enough to learn and youth are equipped with life and job-ready skills.
The Decent Work Country program, which we are working on, focused on job creation, labor standards, and social dialogue.
We propose, or we hope to increase access to safe water to at least 85% in the urban areas and to achieve at least 80% in the rural areas by 2030.
The World Bank says 61% of Uganda's human capital remains underutilized.
Much more will need to be done to raise domestic revenue. I think this is particularly urgent given the continued decline in foreign assistance. We've seen that not just in the human development sectors, education, health, but across a number of sectors.
I'm Nafka Farida in Kampala.
President Yoweri Museveni has encouraged higher institutions of learning and the learners in the country to continue emphasizing science subjects among other marketable subjects to compete favorably on the world job market. This was contained in a speech read for him by State Minister for Higher Education Dr. Jesse Muyingo at the 5th graduation ceremony of Islamic University held at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council in Old Kampala.
Over 240 graduates have been awarded degrees and diplomas in Islamic Studies, Arabic Language, Computer Science, among others, at Islamic University College, UMSC, Old Kampala. The graduation ceremony was presided over by the Chancellor, Uganda's Mufti Ramadan Mubaje, with the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, who represented President Yoweri Museveni as the chief guest. In his message delivered by Dr. Jesse Muyingo, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni encouraged universities, institutions and learners to continue emphasizing science subjects among other marketable courses to enable them compete favorably on the world job market.
I urge you to apply the skills and the knowledge that you have acquired from this university and add value to yourselves and your families. Finally, I urge the graduates to jealously safeguard their lives by adopting positive and healthy lifestyles. The future of your families and country depends on you. Therefore, you should not handle your lives recklessly.
He advised graduates to consider participating in politics and emphasized working in the rural area to enable social and economic development.
I urge the graduates to join hands with the NRM government to transform Uganda into a modern and prosperous country. I urge you to apply the skills and the knowledge that you have acquired from this university and add value to yourselves and your families.
The Chancellor and Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, cautioned the Muslim fraternity, especially those who want to be religious leaders of UMSC at all levels, to upgrade their education levels as the new Supreme Council Constitution.
To become a member of the College of Sheikhs, you must acquire a bachelor's degree in Sharia or religious education. To become a district Qadi, you must have Thanawi. We are still at Thanawi. A level. But very soon we shall require you to have a degree, bachelor's degree.
The Chairman Governing Council of Islamic University, Engineer Badru Chigundu, commended government for the conducive education environment and support to the university. Charity Marion Imnat and Salongo Kasvante for UBC News.
The Bukonzo West County MP hopeful Godfrey Kibianga has engaged with women groups involved in savings and credit catering and handcrafts in Bungamuyaga 2 village, Ihango Parish, Ihandiro Sub-County, Bukonzo West Kasese District. As part of his mobilization efforts upon the NRM party internal elections, Kibianga encouraged the groups to prioritize saving money rather than distributing it among themselves. He advised them to extend credit to members and urged them to officially register their groups to enhance accountability and access to support. Kibianga, who is also Minister of State for ICT and National Guidance, also pledged to provide piglets and agricultural inputs to boost their household incomes and improve productivity.
The best way of saving. Most of them normally save money, and at the end of the year, they distribute it among themselves. But I'm now trying to discourage them not to distribute it among themselves, to continue saving and giving credit to members. And I was also trying to tell them to register their groups, open bank accounts, because most of them keep that money in boxes. So I feel they should now start keeping it in the bank. In the unlikely situation that a treasurer dies, it becomes a big problem. Sometimes the family hides the box. But also, I'm doing my mobilization. I'm looking for votes. I've also tried to educate them on what is going to happen and telling them to be calm during elections. They should not talk unnecessary ills against the candidates who they don't support. So I'm trying to bring some a bit of unity and cohesion. After these elections, I want to get them, for instance, piglets, because some of them are in piggery, some of them are in poultry. I will look for, I will go into those interventions. But also I want to connect them to ministries like Rwenzori Ruwero to see whether they can assist. I've also educated them to see how they can apply for WEP money, and then grow money, those who are in big business.
Five people have been confirmed dead, while 3 others were seriously injured following a helicopter crash in Somalia. 2 of the dead were UPDF soldiers who were flying in the crashed plane, while the other 3 were run over by the very helicopter when it landed at Mogadishu airport. UPDF spokesperson Major Bilal Katamba confirmed the incident in a telephone interview with UBC.
30 in Mogadishu near the airport. At the airport, our helicopter MY-24 crashed. It had 8 people on board. Unfortunately, 5 of them died. So that's the report I have. The body of the foreign comrades is expected to be flown to Uganda this afternoon. We expect to receive them at Entebbe Airport. Well, right now I cannot tell what caused the crash, but the team that's going to investigate, and we know the matter would have a logical conclusion regarding what could have caused the crash. No, it was an internal travel. They are conducting routine combat escort missions within Somalia. These are routine activities. 3 survived. The pilot, the co-pilot, and the flight engineer were on board. They survived. Currently, they're in Mogadishu at our African Union Support and Stabilization Mission level 2 hospital, which is within the base camp. However, there are other 3 civilians who were injured, who were around where the crash happened. So the injured are 6 in number now. The 3 were on board, and the 3 were on the ground who were injured as a result of the crash. It's unfortunate that it happened, but when you're in an operation area, sometimes such incidents happen. but there should not be a reason for worry in regards to the continuity and sustainability of the operation.
Bilal Katamba, the deputy spokesperson of the UPDF. The National Resistance Movement has nominated various youth to contest for key positions on the Central Executive Committee of the NRM with a determination to outperform long-serving members of the party. Dr. Sam Oredo is among the young people nominated to contest for key positions on the Central Executive Committee of the NRM.
As the political landscape evolves, youth are actively participating in the NRM's Central Executive Committee nomination process, seeking to shape the party's future direction. Dr. Samoredo, known for leading recent doctors' protests, is challenging Haj Moses Chigongo for the first vice chairman position.
To integrate the issues that our people are vulnerably facing, especially where we have a population of over 80% of the people being below the age of 40 years. And we have the...
Isaac Rukanda Akampurira is also vying for the vice chairman position for the Western region, currently held by Minister Chris Baryomonsi, and all have vowed to outperform the incumbents.
As a member of SEC, the first key issue will be working hand in hand with fellow SEC members and the party chairman to ensure the continuity of the historical mission, which is nationalism, socio-economic transformation, and Pan-Africanism.
The youth have acknowledged the contributions of elder party members, but believe it is time for a new generation of leaders to take the reins.
I want to tell you that no way how you can discuss the problems of young people if you don't know what young people are facing. Very many people have highlighted what the young people are facing, but we need a consultative leadership.
We are the generation that is going to work with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to ensure that East African community is integrated.
But there's a lot to do as entrepreneurs of this country. I am a seasoned one at that, and also an attorney at law. I major in corporate and commercial practice.
They argue that the party's governing body has failed to prioritize youth issues and it is time for change.
So it is our humble request. And the people I'm contesting against, one of them is Alhaji Moses Chigongo. It is my humble prayer and my humble request. Alhaji, you can do better things by advising us, by guiding us. We need your wisdom.
We have representation at the national level, but in between us, I think there is always nothing. Between the common man who is a worker deep down in the village and the people who are leaders in the parliament in Kampala.
I think if we put leaders, if we put youth to be their own leaders, they will be able to articulate their issues properly, okay? But we have also programs which the government has developed specifically for the youth. We have the Youth Life.
Friday, the NRM Electoral Commission is expected to issue nomination papers to various youth aspiring for the chairmanship positions in the party.
The people, the veterans to come on board. Like we've been working with a team, we made sure that there was a ministry for veterans.
Fellow veterans, those are retired soldiers, of course, of all ranks, have been having a lot of problems. First of all, most of them have not been getting their emoluments.
Still, about the Central Executive Committee, the positions are tightening up as many of the party members have been nominated to compete in their various positions. The aspirants for most of the top positions in their party have pledged to fight corruption.
It was an exciting moment at the NRM Electoral Commission offices in Kampala as supporters escorted their favorite candidates to be nominated for the party's topmost positions at the Central Executive Committee. The Minister for Microfinance, Haruna Kasolo, is one such an aspiring candidate for the National Vice Chairperson for Central Region.
Trying to run away from NRM, it's because they have issues to do with land grabbing. So
Kasolo, who wants to unseat Godfrey Kibianga Subi, was seconded by two former vice presidents, Professor Gilbert Bukenya and Edward Chiwanuka II.
Well, this speaks volumes. And when you see me accompanied by the strong pillars of Uganda here, the former vice presidents, Edward Chiwanuka II, Gilbert Bukenya, it speaks volumes because we want to revive Buganda this time around. We want a mobilizer. We want somebody who will fill up that gap.
Kasolo pledged to improve service delivery, increase NRM visibility in Buganda, and unite the party members.
But also, I'm not only supported in Buganda here, everywhere. Because
the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Alitwala Kadag, is another SEC member who wants to retain her position as the second national vice chairperson, female. She says she has been a tried and tested leader and wants to continue serving the people of Uganda.
We need a woman's voice of the NRM. So that is how the position was created. Now to thank the members of the NRM. Nominate you, Nanyero Sarah Oche.
The former woman MP for Lamo District in Acholi Sub-Region, Sarah Lanyero Ocheng, is a fresh entrant in the Central Executive Committee position as the Women's League chairperson. She says she wants to empower the grassroots women.
Empower women. And they have brought many programs. I'm giving you an example of GROW, but it has not trickled down. There is a disconnect between what government is doing and what is done on the ground.
She wants to unseat Lydia Wanyoto, who is also seeking re-election for the same position, saying she is the best.
SEC is also a form of mobilization. SEC is a think tank. It's the political bureau of the country and of the party. So you need somebody at that rank of merit, qualification, but also wide exposure and a better understanding of the country, like I do. And everybody knows this. That's why they told me to come back and lead them and represent them and also serve them at the highest level as the leader of the women in Uganda.
With my sister, that's why I knew her and I've campaigned for her for the past, but I told her that my sister, it's time you leave space for somebody else. I don't care about money because I have the masses behind me. Actually, I have a lot of people who have been calling me and saying, Honorable, thank you for coming.
The Minister for Security, Jim Wezi, was also nominated to compete in the NRM SEC race in the position for the chairperson for Veterans League and pledged to address the plights of the veterans, including fighting poverty.
The problems of veterans have been alleviated because of that achievement. We have created a circle for the veterans and we intend to help them to get out of poverty on top of the other programs of government where they are beneficiaries, the parish development model, the Myoga, and so on. They also benefit, but we want in a special way to get them a circle where they can benefit. I want to decentralize it, take them to every district.
The youthful MP for Buyamba constituency from Rakari district, Semwanga Gyavira, was nominated for the SEC position of the chairperson Entrepreneurs League. Semwanga wants to ease the process and cost of doing business and involve as many youth in business as possible.
I informed all Ugandans that you cannot push for policies when you are not on the right platform. As a member of parliament, I will be able to ensure that policies regarding entrepreneurs are put forward. I want to call upon all Ugandans to rally behind me, ensure that we develop young entrepreneurs in this field.
Enoch Biaruhanga Bajire was nominated to face the ICT Minister Chris Bariomusi for the National Vice Chairperson for Western Uganda. He pledged to fight corruption and to reduce the size of parliament.
We want to push within honorable members of SEC for policy reform so that we can have a reduction in the size of cabinet, both cabinet and the state ministers, as well as the size of our parliament, so that we can redirect the resources to other productive areas of our economy. At the national level, of course, that's, the parliament is one of the issues at the national level. We have issue of corruption. We have a failed judiciary.
Others nominated were John Rex Achila, who was a member of parliament and also former Local 5 chairperson for Cathedral, and served as RDC in various districts. He was nominated for the position for National Vice Chairperson for Karamoja. He wants to sustain the prevailing peace in Karamoja.
And as I speak now, Karamoja is disarmed. We would like to consolidate that peace for the people of Karamoja and for the land of Karamoja, and to make the land prosper. Secondly, we have an issue of unemployment.
Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
Yes, still at the NRM, there were more activities related to nomination of candidates for party structures and preparation for party primaries.
For commission, I now nominate Miss Biruji Resti to contest for National Treasurer of the Women's League of Uganda in the Central Executive Committee. Congratulations.
John Bosco Tuizere, aspiring Western Youth League Vice Chairperson, NRM, and I am so much interested in that position for serving the youth because I have them at heart. I think the youth for the past 10 years where we have been having a vice chairperson have not been effectively represented, and we are bringing new energy to put the youth on map. The youth shouldn't only be heard or their voices be focused on only during elections.
My name is Loki John Baptist. I'm the member of parliament from Cathedral County. Today has been yet another important day in my political career, where I've been duly nominated to contest for NRM Vice Chairperson for Karamoja region. So I am now duly nominated. Now the task is to canvass for the votes. That will enable me to become a member of the Central Executive Committee of NRM.
I'm Resta Birunji, contesting for the position of Treasury Women's League, and I'm the chairperson. First of all, let me thank the NRM, our party, and the entire women of Uganda, who are my fellow leaders.
I've been nominated very well as Secretary of Finance for the Veterans League. So I have joined the SEC. I am getting out there to compete. I will go search for votes, and I am sure of the victory. I have been in this NRM and at the national for the rest of 16 years.
This is my chairman from my district. This is the chairman of Aburu district. And his name is very...
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. star 165 star 80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees for your child for a whole year.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Star 165 star 80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees for your child for a whole year.
Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. It's UBC News Tonight. The challenge of low staffing levels in public institutions has stood out as the country prepares to commemorate the Africa Public Service Day on the 7th of this month, July. The Minister for Public Service, Muruli Mukasa, acknowledges that low staffing affects effective service delivery and therefore government is working towards filling the gaps.
Public services provide essential goods and services to the citizens, including healthcare, education, infrastructure, and social welfare. However, as the country gears up to commemorate the Africa Public Service Day on the 7th of this month at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, the challenge of low staffing in the public sector is still disturbing.
I think at most about average 65%. That means, therefore, what should have been done by 100 people is being done by 65. The burden is quite heavy. That's a big challenge. There is also the challenge of motivation. Yes, in terms of salary, not only salary, but many other instances that help in motivating a public servant to perform to the utmost. There is also a challenge of the facilitation, the facilities that are needed. For instance, now we are trying to go electronic, to go paperless. You get challenges here and there in terms of affordability, but also in terms of the knowledge.
Africa Public Service Day seeks to recognize the value of service to the community.
In celebrating this day, we also want to take stock of what is going on elsewhere and also to share experiences with other people, to see the best practices which we can adopt here, which can work here.
Government is now striving to address the challenge of human resource in public service with the aim to improve service delivery.
It is a question of affordability, of salary, of paying, and of making sure that, yes, all these people, once they are there, they are well paid and motivated to work. That's the only challenge now.
Improving public services is crucial as it establishes the presence and authority of the state. Adia Nakote, UBC.
The Uganda Law Society has emphasized the need for courage, wisdom and conviction to improve judicial service system in Uganda. This was during the commemoration of the UN International Day in support of victims of torture and called for violence-free elections for all.
By these kind of actions that we try as much as possible to reach out to our membership.
The President Alliance for National Transformation Party, Major General Mugisha Muntu, calls for collective action to tackle impunity within the justice system.
Our constitution enshrines the right to freedom from torture and cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment.
Mugisha Muntu called for unified and sustained efforts to reform the country's judicial system.
And the reality is that you are going to be responsible for your own future, whatever future you think you want to have.
He urged citizens to work towards normalizing the abnormal with a focused vision for a just and fair future.
Impunity is preceded by a systematic process of normalizing the abnormal. That's why so many things which ordinarily would be seen to be abnormal now have been normalized, and they simply pass, and everybody says, okay, I am still okay.
Legal practitioners also underscored the critical role of courts in upholding the law and protecting rights for all.
It has become very difficult, even for lawyers, to access places of detention in a time like this. Some people, when we talk about elections, they think of 2026, but elections have started.
The broader message was a call for violence-free elections and a justice system that truly serves every Ugandan.
We noted the disproportionate impact of electoral violence on women, journalists, and marginalized communities, and the need for targeted measures to protect these groups. Based on that, we did sign and we did commit to one, promoting peaceful elections through advocacy, education, and community engagement, supporting victims of electoral violence through legal aid, counseling, and other forms of assistance.
Freedom from torture is one of the most universally recognized rights. Torture is barbaric, it's incompatible with any civilized society, and must not be accepted.
We are quick to draw the hammer down, and yet when people stand up and do what is right, the voices are not as loud.
Kawanguzi Paul, UBC.
Pastor Robert Kibianga, together with evangelist Benny Hinn, donated food, cows and basic necessities to residents of Lubaga and surrounding communities. The act was presented as a spiritual gesture of giving back following a highly attended three-day crusade led by Pastor Benny Hinn, which drew participants and believers from around the world.
Following a successful Mauritius healing crusade that drew large crowds from across the country and overseas, and prayers and blessings for nations, evangelist Ben Hinn has now returned home. However, before departing, Ben Hinn, through his Ben Hinn Ministries, arranged for a donation of food supplies, cows, and basic necessities including soap, sugar, salt, vegetables, and more, to be distributed to residents of Lubaga and the surrounding areas. According to Miracle Center Cathedral Pastor Robert Kibianga, This act of generosity was in appreciation of love and hospitality shown to them during the recent crusade.
Warmth and your hospitality. Benny felt the heart of Uganda and he was so touched. For all of you who've helped, who volunteer, thank you so much.
Pastor Kibianga revealed that Bay Inn realized that food remains a challenge to most households, and that's why he made a donation.
Being good hosts, our community here, hundreds of thousands of people received the spiritual food, and now Pastor Benny is concerned about you, and so he knew that food is a problem, so he requested that we provide some food stuff to you.
Kibianga urged fellow pastors to embark on preaching the gospel of unity and work for people rather than gossiping.
And discuss with the residents. How do you get out of your condition? How do you get out of where you are? How do you fight?
Beneficiaries of the donation shared their appreciation and commended Pastor Kibianga for a caring heart, which resonates to the gospel he preaches.
Tuyambako kukozesebwa ewaka, tuyamba n'abaana baffe, era twebaza nnyo omusumba eyatukyalidde mu nsi ne byatuwadde.
Yatuwadde Mukama muwe omukisa wajja yongerezeeko banaye. Nze ndi musanyufu siina na bigambo. Mukama bampeera omukisa.
Ndi musanyufu era mwoyo mutukuvu ani muwulira n'amafuta agali wano nkyagawulira wakyaliwo amafuta g'enjawulo.
Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs Norbert Mao has warned politicians against commercializing politics in the upcoming polls. Mao says this growing vice is misleading the public and undermining their right to elect capable leaders as money continues to take center stage. He further emphasized the urgent need to review the Public Order Management Act to reduce excessive police powers during elections. He made the remarks during a dialogue organized by the Center for Constitutional Governance in partnership with the Ugandan National Forum and Alliance for Finance Monitoring, aimed at assessing Uganda's current political landscape.
As Uganda prepares for the 2026 general elections, key political players and stakeholders have convened to create a peaceful environment that supports free and fair elections, enhances citizens' participation, and safeguards democratic values. Justice Minister Norbert Mao urged politicians to refrain from commercializing politics to allow Ugandans to fully exercise their constitutional rights.
Commercialization of politics finds a fertile ground of vulnerable citizens who are needy. Therefore, we must have a multifaceted approach. The first is civic education, for citizens to know that if you sell your vote, whatever you are receiving, you may eat it in a day, but you are then sentenced to poor leadership.
People ask for advance payment. Before we vote for you, what are you giving us? It's like pay as you go. Our elections are pay as you go. Whoever has money, the highest bidder takes the vote.
He reiterated the urgent need to regulate the Public Order Management Act.
There is a draft regulation, a statutory instrument under the Public Order Management Act. This draft is already in the hands of the President. The President has asked for time to consult, and among the bodies he wants to consult is the National Security Council. The purpose of that statutory instrument is to state clearly the limits of the powers of the police.
Electoral Commission Public Relations Officer Julius Muchunguzi affirmed that the Commission's mandate is clear and that every citizen must be allowed to exercise their electoral rights.
The point is that everybody, including officials of security agencies who come into the electoral process, and by law, it's only police that is entrusted with the responsibility of securing an election.
Uganda Human Rights Commission Chairperson Mariam Wagadia stressed the importance of ending violation of citizens' rights during elections and called for the promotion of peaceful electoral processes.
But I think what we should discuss is how to correct those mistakes.
It's not just enough to ring the alarm bell and to sound scared and declare this a war. This is not a war. This is a part of the democratic process.
The dialogue seeks to promote a shared understanding of the roles and responsibilities of key political actors in upholding democratic principles throughout the electoral cycle. Irene Faith Nantongo, Dan Lukomwa.
At UNOC, we believe in safety.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Use waters on your wallet. Bobby, again! What's this drama?
Drama? Colleagues, elections for special interest groups are calling. SIGs, elections, youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time to vote for our leaders, June through August. From village to parish to district to nationals, youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time, go vote your leaders.
No!
FOB! Elections are supposed to be peaceful. Easy vote, okay?
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the special interest group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
Business news tonight. Welcome back from the break. The National Agricultural Research Organization, that is NARO, has embarked on the soil mapping exercise, an activity intended to inform farmers on specific crops for specific regions. Soil agronomists at the institute explained the progress of the exercise.
Agriculture remains the backbone of Uganda's economy, supporting over 70% of our population. However, decade-old soil maps lack the precision farmers need for today's crops. To address this, NARO is updating soil maps at more detailed scales of 1 to 50,000 compared to the old standards of 1 to 250,000.
The country is divided into 18 blocks. And these blocks, we have already completed Masaka block, and then Kampala block, and other blocks are in the progress.
These high-resolution maps will revolutionize how farmers manage their land by understanding soil types and nutrient levels, where farmers can plant the right crops in the right locations.
Within the an area of 5 hectares, the variation needs to be what? Established. That is how detailed this mapping exercise is. And this is supposed to be carried out countrywide.
This soil mapping initiative brings us one step closer to modernizing agriculture in Uganda, where farmers can grow smarter, more profitable and sustainable crops.
And also gives guidance in specific land use planning, especially what are the crops that can be grown in what particular area within the country. So this information, soil information in particular, also increases the confidence of our farmers in terms of investments.
The exercise will help farmers eliminate barriers to growing desired crops in particular soils.
Most of the land units are grouped under currently not suitable. So the limitations are climate and fertility, which is a limitation, and also drainage. So if these limitations are addressed, then coffee can grow in those areas.
The institute is currently addressing soil infertility to increase crop production.
Currently, we are running some formulations. One, we have a formulations for beans, where we are trying to address the challenges of infertility. We also have blends for maize.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
UBC News tonight. In the world of sport, the Uganda Cranes Chan team continued with their non-residential training at Luzira prison grounds as preparations intensify ahead of the 2024 Chan tournament, which Uganda will co-host with Kenya and Tanzania from the 2nd of August, from the 2nd to the 28th of August 2025.
It's day 9 of training and the atmosphere remains focused and competitive. All locally based players stand up for the session led by technical team, including coach Fred Muhomuza.
Good condition. I think we'll begin the tactics next week. So it's been conditioning a little bit and some little bit of playing to get them back into the competition period. But there are good positives. They are progressing well. And it's a very good crop of players. They are all competitive. They know what it takes. We are hosting the championship and they'll give their all.
Goalkeeper Hannington Sewalunyo believes the team is building good chemistry and is ready to represent the country.
The preparations haven't been so bad as of now because we had taken some time off resting after the league and had to do personal trainings and so forth. But whenever you're doing training that is involving competitors, obviously you have to push yourself to the best in order to give out the best. The impression so far is good. All of us are working harder, having the same objective of making the final squad and representing the country.
One of the standout performers in training has been forward Patrick Jonakakande, whose pace and skill continues to impress.
Everyone is happy in the camp and they are ready for the tournament and they are ready to represent our nation because we are the hosts. We have to put up a good performance in the upcoming tournament of the Chan. The camp is good because we are from different clubs, but we are trying to become one and it's coming day by day. And we promise our fans, our beloved fans, the Ugandans, that we shall put up a good performance in the tournament.
The team will take a break on Thursday and resume training on Friday 4th July at Rosita Prison Grounds, starting at 9 a.m. The Chan tournament is just a month away, and the Uganda Cranes are determined to make history by advancing beyond the group stages. Nawachibi Doreen Malaika, UBC News.
Nawachibi Doreen Malaika brings us to the end of news tonight, this particular arrangement. Let's get back at 10 p.m. with another lot. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Dorothy Namuyomba and the whole team. Let's catch you then.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Agriculture
is Uganda's economic backbone, employing about 70% of the working population and contributing 20% of the GDP. As the world becomes a digital global village, ICT has proven to increase productivity in the agricultural value chain.